I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Secret Ball Stories. So, this is my number 3? I guess it's number 3, are we on? Losing track. So we've had... Yeah, so we've done your 3. Hugo Strange was your 3.
Hugo Strange was my 3.
Yes,
well, yeah.
so this is my 3. So, I'm going... This represents the Dark Mirror subsection of the Batman Rogues. And I'm going to choose the Wrath. Now, the Wrath is a fairly obscure kind of opposite Batman character. So he was a child, and his 2 parents were burglars in Gotham City, and they were discovered by a rookie, Jim Gordon. And in that situation, Jim Gordon was forced to kill them both in self-defense in front of the Wrathchild, I guess you'd call him, because he didn't really have, I don't think he really had a name. It's never really named in the story. And then he dedicates himself, much like Batman, to kill all law enforcers, anybody who represents the law. And this, weirdly enough, happens the exact same time as Batman's parents getting shot. So literally, he's the exact opposite, created at the same time, born at the same time. And then he goes on and creates a costume that is kind of based on Batman as a mockery. It's a mockery of Batman and everything he stands for. And the silhouette is identical. So if you see the Batman silhouette holding a massive gun, it's probably the Wrath. It's probably him killing policemen, not Batman. But who would know? He manages to he's trying to kill Jim Gordon because he killed his parents. This is the final thing he needs to do before he retires. This is it for him. He struggles with this because Batman is I'm going to look after you, Jim. I will take care of you. And he just does that constantly. He's trying to figure out what Batman, he's trying to find some information. And he finds out that the night, June 23rd, I think it is specific and special to him. And he realizes that, Bruce Wayne's parents died at that same night as him. He figures out Bruce Wayne's Batman in record time, like in a day, he figures this out. He's a clever guy. He's not stupid. So he decides to start he beats up Alfred, puts him in the hospital, and he's like, how do you know who I am? And you never really get much out of Wrath. He doesn't even tell Batman he is called the Wrath. He just kind of attacks him. And at the end of the issue, he tries to kidnap. It's Crime Alley. It's the same date, so Batman always meets Leslie Tompkins at that time, at that place. And he tries to kidnap Leslie Tompkins, tries to shoot her, but he ends up fighting Batman and setting himself on fire and falling off the building. But years later, he was an absolute he really wanted to kind of hammer home this mockery of Batman, everything he stood for. So he even quite brutally trained his own Robin, and actually killed several children in the process. They didn't survive the training.
He seems a lovely guy.
He's nice. He's got a nice
dinner,
name. Yeah, you'd have him round. You'd have him round for a drink. So he's trained all these kids to death. He dies. The last Robin, his last Robin, takes over and becomes the new Wrath, and is actually better, well trained, and he he defeats Batman a couple of times actually, and gets the better of him. But Nightwing's there to kind of assist, and it's a nice there's a nice storyline kind of arc with both of them, because Nightwing was never told about what happened with the Wrath. They were like, oh, Batman, Alfred fell down some stairs. Don't worry, Nightwing, it's fine. It's fine. It's nothing. Don't worry. We're not like crime fighters or anything, nothing horrible happens, So he there's that nice parallel between the two. He's like, you were an abused child, you were a born killer, I'm not that, and I was chosen specifically for a reason, trained and cared for and, looked after, and you were just abused. And he was like, no, I'm not that. And they had this cool little battle between the Batmobile and the Wrathmobile, I guess. It's a really cool story. That's in Batman Confidential, but it's a really cool little issue and a really cool character and nice. And you get to see the corruption in Gotham, because when Jim Gordon accidentally kills them, he's sent away to Chicago, and Commissioner Loeb from Batman Year One covers it up. So when Jim Gordon comes back from Chicago in Batman Year One, you can see why he's aware of the corruption and the way he wants to kind of smash it and get rid of it. And that obviously happens within Year One. But I think he's a really fascinating character. So there's a lot of kind of Dark Mirror Batmans, but he is definitely my favourite.
It sounds great.
Yeah. Are you familiar with The Wrath?
No. I have the comic.
Cool.
Annual, and the front cover with the
Yeah.
arrow thing.
Yeah, it's got like a
With
bullseye,
God and
and there's Wrath and
Yeah,
Batman
but
on
I've
one
not
side.
never read it. Sorry.
Highly recommended. Definitely switch it out. So that's Batman Special. I know it's on Comixology. There is a collection that you can get on Amazon that I've seen is relatively cheap as well. I think it's just called Batman the Wrath, and it contains both stories.
Yeah.
They're really nice. They're nice sequels to each other. There's a slight kind of retroactive continuity in the sequel somewhat, but it still works, and it's a fun story. Really good Batman stories. So definitely seek them out. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of Dark Mirror Batman. But I think that might be the problem for the Wrath, is that there is so many. And I think because he died so in his first appearance and has had very few subsequent appearances, he did appear in the cartoon The Batman, and he was known as the Wrath, and then his sidekick was known as Scorn. They did bring him back in the New 52. He's a bit more armoured. His alter ego is basically like an anti-Bruce Wayne, like a Tommy Elliot type figure. So yeah, that's really, really, really cool kind of parallel. I've not read that story though, so I can't say.
Because the Batman animated series is just full of obscure villains, isn't it?
Yeah, there's things like...
you don't get the usual crowd.
Yeah, like Phosphorus and Firefly and all that sort of stuff. Because obviously, they're still kind of coming off the end of Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, and things like that. So this is the first kind of new take on all those kind of villains and stuff. But yeah, my runners-up for that Dark Mirror, Prometheus came very close from the Justice League of America. Grant Morrison created character. He's got the helmet that can download all the different fighting styles. Which I think is pretty cool. Owlman, so from Earth 3.
Owlman.
He's like an evil Batman. Talon from the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Catman, who is Batman but with a C, basically. You've got the Killer Moth, who designed himself to be the anti-Batman, bit of a loser. And I've included the Phantasm from Mask of the Phantasm, which is an amazing animated movie.
Second best Batman movie.
Agreed. Okay, well, that's my 3, so on to your 4.
Catman,
brilliant, yes!
good little segue.
Yeah, amazing segue.
Catman.
Okay.
I love Catman.
Tell me more.
He's a man, and he dresses up as a cat.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He's been around a very, very long time.
60s, 50s?
He's 63, I think, his first appearance in Detective Comics. So his suit is kind of like a cross between Batman and Catwoman at the time. He's got 3 kind of like claw marks down his chest.
Yeah.
And he also had a pet cat. I think it was called Rasputin.
Of course.
For a while.
Why not?
And he's a physical match for Batman.
Yeah.
As, mirrors are usually. He's an Olympic-style gymnast and fighter and everything.
Yeah.
He has diamond-tipped claws. But what I find interesting about him, he pisses off Catwoman all the time. He's more of a Catwoman villain in the early days than he's a Batman villain, which is really weird. People think that, oh, look, it's Catwoman's doing all those crimes, or Catwoman's doing this. Hang on a minute, I'm a cat, but I'm not doing this. So he kind of...
Giving her a worse name, so to speak.
Yeah, so he, a lot of the times you have Catwoman in the Catman stories, but he looks like Batman.
Yeah.
Apart from he's got a brown suit.
Pretty
He
much,
changes colour slightly.
Orangey, yellowy,
Yeah,
tan.
and he... I think his first appearance is riding on top of a massive tiger.
Nice.
Which is like, and he's got a yellow suit with a red cape, and I think as it goes on, it goes brown and stuff. But he kind of has dipped in and out. He has long runs and then disappears for a time, and then comes back in, and then has long runs. And he was kind of like one of these jokey opposites. DC and I think Marvel went through sort of making everything opposites. So you had a lot of the heroes at the time were kind of like
Bizarro.
Bizarro.
Or Reverse Flash.
He kind of came out of that. But as he's kind of developed, like I say, he became more of a Catwoman. So there's lots of stories where he'll be fighting Batman and Catwoman will appear.
Right.
Or he'll need Catwoman's help for things. And Catwoman will go, yeah, I'll help you. But then double cross him. And he'll be like, damn you, Catwoman.
I'll get you next time.
And then disappeared for about 10 years. And then popped up in Africa.
Yes.
Chubby.
Yeah.
And as an Arrow story.
Yes, so I've read Archer's Quest.
Yes.
It's a really good read if you can get hold of it. One of my favourite Green Arrow stories. And he turns up and I think he's thought to be one of the main villains of the piece, but he's kind of like this overweight, slovenly loser villain.
Yeah, he's been defeated. He's fed up of like trying to fight Batman and Catwoman.
I think he takes him out in like 2 arrows or something.
Yeah, he's just not, and he kind of, but it spurs him on. To kind of become this. It's because he lives with the lions, he lives with the tigers, and he becomes again. It never said. I don't think it never mentions that he's got like
powers or something. Yeah,
but he kind of lives with.
Yeah, he kind of runs with the kind of lions and the tigers and the kind of in Africa, and then he's got this amazing bod. He's got the abs back and everything. And then he joins the Secret Six.
Yeah, but before he joins the Secret Six, he comes back to Gotham.
Okay.
Does a crime. Catwoman helps him, and in the end, Batman gets Catman, and Catwoman runs off with all the loot. Again, damn you, Catwoman!
Yeah,
damn you! But yeah, Secret Six.
It's like, I could probably, kiss her later, so maybe I should let her go this time.
Like Gail Simone completely changed him.
Yeah, it's an amazing run. If you like Suicide Squad and stuff like that,
very much Suicide Squad.
It's basically kind of a more modern take on the Suicide Squad, but it's really fun. It's got some amazing characters in there: Ragdoll, Bane, Scandal Savage. You name it. There's some some great real villains.
Yeah.
This is a story about villains.
Yes.
So the villains have to be even more villainous. Yeah. But yeah, and Catman's your kind of go-to because he's kind of this troubled anti-hero, more of an anti-hero in the story. And he's struggling with his the moral kind of he's a killer, he's a full-on killer, and he will kill if needs to. But he's trying. I think he's trying to be a better person.
He's becoming more Batman-like.
Yeah, he is, and you can definitely see that throughout the run.
And I think it's where it's written, the way Gail writes it. He's more of a sympathetic character.
Oh, very much so.
He's more of kind of because he's depressed. He's a bit down. He knows who he is, but doesn't really like what he is.
Yeah, he's trying to change or move on or rework what he is. Yeah,
but I think he should be used more. Because he's not been used since, I think he popped up in the 52 for a while. I've not seen him in Rebirth yet. But I think his suit looks cool.
Yeah.
He looks cool. He's a match for Batman physically.
Yeah.
And like I said, he does kill people.
Yeah. I think he's great. I think he's a really cool character. Again, very underrated character. As a villain or as a hero, as an anti-hero.
Yeah. Doesn't play well with others either.
Definitely not. Like the Secret Six, they are a team, but they are constantly fighting. There's a really cool rivalry between him and Deadshot. They're like, I'm going to kill you in the next week or so. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you first. And this is kind of like cool little rivalry that they have going because like Deadshot is like an absolute sociopath. They kind of have this weird friendship.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
It's like a psycho buddy movie, isn't it?
It's like a cop buddy movie or something.
Yeah, what could be Lethal Weapon if they hate each other properly. Yeah. Kind of stuff. But no, I think Gail Simone gave him a bit of a rebirth. He brought him into the... And he became a really cool character, but then nothing.
Yeah, it's a real shame that because
disappeared again.
It was a really good run. I think it did kind of falter at the end of the run, but there is some really I couldn't put it down. Like there was 3 kind of omnibus collections or what have you. 3 or 4, and I read them all in quite quick succession.
Specials as well.
Villains United. It technically starts in.
This one,
that starts in, but then it spins off into its own series.
He's on the front cover of that one.
He is. Meow.
Look at this. Look at me wagging my tail. But it's annoying.
This cat's got claws.
Diamond tipped.
Oh yes.
We keep seeing the same characters of Joker, and we've got we've
seen them.
Touched on quite a lot of it. It's like, come on.
There's other characters out there. We all like the Joker, sure. We all like Wolverine. We all like Batman. We all like the Punisher and stuff like that. But we don't need to see them constantly.
No.
I like I said, I said it on the podcast with Dan not so long ago. I like the Joker, but he's just overused constantly. And again, the stories do tend to get worse if he's overused. Like the worst point in X-Men history was when Wolverine was on every fucking team. He was on every team. How is that? And the New Avengers.
It may be happening again.
Oh no, no, not again. So this is what happens, and this is why I like the more obscure characters, like the Wrath, like Catman. That's why I kind of pick those and bring those to light, and that's why I like underrated stuff. That's what this podcast is all about. Is the best secrets in entertainment, the best kept secrets. And so it's movies, characters, stories. Please read this, look at it, take it. Look at this character, investigate, see if you like it, try it out, try that movie. That's what this is all about, and that's why I like. That's why I like these obscure kind of characters.
And the first appearance of Catman's very, very expensive, but Villains United isn't.
No.
You can pick it up for a couple of quid.
Exactly, and it's probably it could be argued that it's a better story.
It's far better because it's not as camp and it doesn't have Batwoman in it. In a bright.
So you wouldn't. So with Catman, you'd get rid of the camp, but with Calendar Man, you keep the camp.
Yeah, because I think the camp suits him because because Catman's a bit more militant and a bit more
aggressive.
Yeah, and he's
physical, agile.
Yeah, I think he kind of fits the darker kind of realms of DC, where riding the back of a yellow, or I think it was a bright white tiger.
Yeah.
Doesn't really fit. But Calendar Man, because he has gone through changes. Catman really hasn't gone through that many changes, apart from being a bit chubby and a bit depressed.
Yeah.
And having a suit from Africa that's, I think you can channel something over.
Sure, yeah.
Catwoman took it back. Yeah. Because apparently she has morals now.
When she wants.
Yeah, can't keep up with it. But Calendar Man, I think he suits the campness of kind of like 60s. TV, he could easily, Calendar Man, fit in the Adam West TV series with that big suit and everything. I think it'd be real well in it. Where Catman, not so much, more like the Christopher Nolan movies or stuff like that. I think Catman would fit into that kind of world.
Cool.
And he's a bit more grounded as well. And I do have a kind of thing with grounded villains. I mean, said that I do like Bane on Venom more than Bane without Venom.
I would agree. Yeah.
Because I think you take away the Venom, you take away who Bane is, which he wants to be the best.
But then I did like him in Secret Six though, and he spends a lot of time without the Venom.
Yeah, but every time I think of
you want the Venom. Yeah.
Kelly Jones breaking him over the back. Yeah. His head's this big and his body's you can't see my hands, but they're very big.
Yeah, the massive deltoids. It's a famous cover. Well, yeah, if you type Bane into Google, that image will come
I've got it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
That's how much I like it. I like the cover.
Okay.
Anyway,
I think we've covered Catman. Definitely check out some Catman stuff.
Secret Six.
Secret Six, yeah.
Definitely read it.
Just read it. If you want to read any Catman stuff, just go for Secret Six.
Definitely.
Widely available. Go for it. Okay, so I guess this is my fourth, isn't it? So you've had your fourth, my fourth. So this is representing the characters that are a physical match for Batman. So we're not looking.
Myself.
Yes, I mean, look at that hench body. You can. I mean, you're well trained as well versed in Aikido and capoeira, all those martial art forms.
Yeah, I like it with cream.
So I've chosen these characters based on who can handle a fight. So we're not necessarily talking about things like the Mad Hatter, characters like the Mad Hatter or the Joker in some instances, or Scarecrow maybe. Depends on the situation, depends on how the characters are written and how well they, given the situation that they fight Batman in. But I'm going to go for Lady Shiva. Lady Shiva is one of the premier martial artists in the DC universe, and one of the only characters that has soundly defeated Batman. Amazing character. She's morally very grey as well, which I quite like. She's been the teammate of the Birds of Prey, but she has also manipulated a lot of the characters. She's manipulated Batman. She's manipulated Robin, Black Canary, you name it. Any of those. Cassandra Cain, who was former Batgirl. I think she's now known as Orphan.
Yes.
I really like her character as well. That is her daughter, believe it or not. Maybe not necessarily in the most recent continuity, but in the previous continuity.
Yeah,
she was. Yeah. But she's one of the best. Even Batman has said she's potentially the dangerous hand-to-hand combatant alive. And Batman doesn't say things like that lightly. She's appeared in quite a few things, actually, like a few animated series, video games. She's in DC Superhero Girls, you name it. She's in a few things. And again, she's an interesting character. Unfortunately, a lot of the Batman characters aren't that racially diverse either. There tend to be a lot of, white men for the most part, which is, it's unfortunate. But I think she's a really unique challenge. She didn't even begin as a Batman villain. She was a Richard Dragon, kung fu fighter.
Yes.
Which kind of, I guess, DC's kind of Iron Fist, if you will, or something, or Shang-Chi. But yeah, she's introduced that. She's been manipulated. There's a lot of things. She's been in league with the League of Assassins. She's fought people in the League of Assassins. She had a baby with David Kane, who was training her in the martial arts, but he killed her sister because she was like, your sister is holding you back. And then when she was fighting David Kane, she was like, wow, I'm rubbish. So I was being held back. And then she agreed to have a baby with David Kane, so she could be the new head assassin for Ra's al Ghul. But she's got a bit of a death wish as well, a bit like Deadshot, who's constantly looking for somebody to just put him out of his misery. It's like, kill me already, please. She goes around the world looking for someone who finally will end her life in hand-to-hand combat. Obviously, she's got a lot of there's a lot of things about honor with her and honoring, past relationships and things like that. But then she will turn on a dime. She doesn't care. It's purely for her self-interest for the most part. Again, she does have friendships and makes friends, but she is generally quite a cold-blooded killer. And speaking of Nightfall, when Batman was broken, Bane broke his spirit, broke his back, who did Batman go to train him to get his edge back? He went to Shiva. He went to Lady Shiva. Put on a little bat mask, yeah. And she sent killers after him, cold-blooded killers. She actually killed their mentor, this kind of armless martial art dude, who I think trained Catwoman as well.
Good with his feet.
Yeah, really good with his feet. Yeah. But yeah, he was an incredible martial artist, and Shiva just killed him in cold blood, and then gives Batman the outfit that she killed that guy in, and then sends all these killers after him. And she goes, "This is the only way you can go back to being the true Batman." And she says, "You're going to have to kill these people. You are going to have to kill at least one of them to prove." And he's like, I cannot do that. I'm Batman. I don't kill." And then in one issue, looks like he does. Quite dramatically in front of Robin and Nightwing. He's like, "No, I had to kill him." I definitely had to kill him.
I had to do that one.
I had to do that. We just, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Spoilers, he's not quite dead. So he's just in a state that represents death or simulates death.
He's probably not going to get up for a while, though, is he?
She's very picky about who she trains as well. She doesn't just train anybody. She doesn't go, "No, I'll just train anyone." She only trains who she believes is worth training. Some of her students include her own daughter, Cassandra Cain, who we've mentioned, Robin, Tim Drake, who we've mentioned, Black Canary, who we've mentioned, and she even took over Black Canary's role for a little bit within the Birds of Prey. They kind of swapped over for a year. She only picks the absolute best.
She's awesome.
She's cool.
I never understand why she's not in the books more often.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
She's great.
She can break Batman's arm in like 2 seconds. She's a match for anybody.
Yeah, I was saying pretty much anyone.
Yeah, anyone in the DC universe. She's a slap me. Just slap me. Sorry, I've dirtied my mouth with the M word. She's she's a powerhouse, and she's up there with kind of Deathstroke or other people that have defeated Batman in the past. But yeah, I think she's a quality character. Anything else you want to say about Shiva that I've not said?
But I think she's awesome.
Yeah, I think we need to see a lot more of Shiva.
And the story, I think it's Crusade, isn't it? When he goes after his night quest.
Yeah, Night's End or whatever.
It's really, really good.
Yeah. Again, just read all of the... DC just released loads of different graphics covering the entire Nightfall saga.
All the extras.
Yeah, all the extras.
DC Spotlight books and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got, I think it's Road to Nightfall, Nightfall, Night's Quest, Night's Quest The Search, Night's End, and I think they've got Batman Troika, and I think which is a kind of a... when he comes back proper.
Troika's really good.
Oh, I'll tell you what. No, they've got Batman Prodigal before
Prodigal,
Troika. Yeah. So you've got Night's End. Batman's not quite ready to come back, so Dick Grayson takes over. Then it's Troika when he comes back. I think Kelly Jones does his new outfit.
Yeah, completely black.
Yeah.
With just the symbol on.
Just the symbol.
And the covers in the comics all embossed, and he just stood there.
That's all you need. It's
very nice. I like that.
So yeah, let's go on to your final one.
Do you not have any extra?
Oh, my runners-up. Yeah, you're right. I didn't mention my runners-up. So, runners-up, KG Beast.
KG Beast is cool.
Yeah, did a podcast on 10 Nights of the Beast.
10 Nights of the Beast. Everyone should read it.
Amazing story. A bit dated now with the political stuff. But it's still a very good story. Yeah. And he kills up to 300 people in the space of 10 days. Over 300 people. So David Kane I mentioned earlier. He's a really good kind of martial artist. King Snake, who is not only an amazing martial artist, but is also blind.
Yes.
On top of that. Bronze Tiger from the Suicide Squad. Yeah. Trained with the League of Assassins, is on the Suicide Squad. Black Spider, who's kind of another dark version of Batman. He's a former drug addict who accidentally killed his own father. Yeah. He started killing off drug dealers.
Costume's cool.
Yeah, I do like him. Very ninja, kind of cool. And I just included just the League of Assassins in general. Yeah. They're all pretty good. But yeah, what's your final one?
It's Riddler.
Riddler. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So fairly well known, not as obscure as some of the ones we mentioned.
No, and it's not so much obscure as I'm sick to death of reading Jim Carrey. Everywhere everyone writes the Riddler now. It's always riddle me this, riddle me that. I am so bored of it. Because Riddler is a great character. He's cleverer than Batman in many ways. Mm-hmm. He's a master manipulator. Mm-hmm. He's no one's sidekick. He's his own man, and he's absolutely batshit crazy. And we kind of forget that now. And I think one of the best kind of Riddlers we've had has been on the Batman animated series. The Batman. When he's a younger Bruce Wayne, and Riddler's got long hair and
it's kind of a very Marilyn Manson, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a better version than what we have in the comics at the moment, because he's still always Jim Carrey, and we can't seem to get away from the kind of swinging the stick and bowler hat, and even Gotham adding with his hat, and it's to me that isn't the Riddler should be.
Yeah, I mean I've always liked I like the Arkham games, where it's all about the booby traps and the puzzles and the riddles and things like that. It's the intelligence. He's not this.
Well, that's what it is. He's like this kind of campy jumping around in
a leotard,
a unitard type thing, and. If you read early Riddler, he's proper crazy.
Yeah.
Edward Nygma is proper mental. His riddles are usually about killing people, locking people in boxes, getting air cut off from people. So it'd be like Batman's too late, someone's died because the air's cut off, and he's a proper maniac in it. And we get Batman Forever, and now he's having little Riddler bats. And kind of he's not. They kind of update him a little bit in Rebirth with the. Riddler and Two-Face war thing, what went on.
Okay. Was it the War of Jokes and Riddles?
Yeah. And it's okay.
Yeah. But still.
To me, read early stuff.
Yeah.
I always think, he's a campy character. Okay, he dresses in a green suit and stuff, but I think it also suffered a little bit from the Batman 66 stuff.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
It's quite a popular version.
Yeah, for the time. And for a time, that's all they wrote as well, with the same sort of thing, with riddles involving animals and kind of like pink elephants and stuff. I prefer him being absolutely crazy, locking Robin in a box and saying, if you don't get there in time, here's your riddles, or he's going to die.
Yeah.
That's
terrifying.
Yeah.
That idea is terrifying.
That's what the Riddler's about. He's also about completely messing Batman's head up.
Yeah.
And early on, when the riddles and stuff, Batman struggled solving them.
Yeah.
Now he just, I've got it, it's no problem. Yeah. Riddle me this,
He's become a bit of a joke character, like a loser villain.
Riddle me this, I sleep on it. Oh, it's a bed. Let's go.
Right.
And he's become, at one time, it was like the three characters, you had, the four kind of main characters, like Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman.
Yeah.
Riddler's dropped even further down the pecking. You got like Bane in there, Ra's al Ghul in there. You got all these kind of people in there. He's dropping down as he's almost like the kind of joke character they bring on.
Yeah.
And bit of a spoiler. I quite like him in Hush. That's
the animated movie. Yeah.
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 And I like the change they made in it.
Yeah.
Because it made sense.
It's quite, it's very different, isn't it?
Yeah, and it kind of, and he's manipulating everybody. He's manipulating Bane, he's manipulating everyone, doing them all, just so he can get revenge. That's Riddler, not Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I like the darker takes on Riddler. I like the ones that are more intellectual and more, more psychotic and more like, it's a compulsion for him.
Yeah.
The riddles are a compulsion. I like this compulsion, but it's often played as a joke.
Yeah, he can't do things unless. Yeah. And it used to be the case that Batman used
look how clever I am. Look how clever I am.
He had to sit around, bat a computer, and to try to solve these riddles. They were good, and people's lives were at stake if he didn't get them right, which put more pressure on him doing it. Now, if you don't get it right, balloon's going to pop.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay then. So he has dropped down the pecking order, and I think it's because. He looks the way he's drawn and the way he is. I think he looks a bit like Calendar Man. How do you take the guy seriously?
Yeah.
But he used to be crazy.
Yeah.
And we need to go back to crazy.
I think so too. I think there are good Riddler stories to be told, but I think we need to approach him in a serious manner and not ludicrous, silly.
Yeah, and it's a trap, I think.
Yeah.
Marvel and DC fall in with a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Look at the Green Goblin and look at, he's crazy now. He's flying around. And I think it's the same thing with a lot of them. The more popular they get, the more they want people to read them, the more they dumb down the character.
Yeah.
But he's on par with Hugo Strange. He's on par with a lot of the other intelligent people we talk about. But he's also he's crazy. Yeah. He wants to kill people, he wants to kind of hurt people.
I think there's a lot of depictions where he's more of a supporting character.
Yes.
Like he was like a consulting detective. I've got one, I think it's called King Tut's Tomb or something like that. And he's like, there's a new character, it's a version of King Tut. And he's like, there's riddles, like the riddles of the Sphinx and stuff. And he's like, that's my thing. That's mine. I've got to solve it now. So that I didn't mind that story. But yeah, I think I think Riddler stories are very hit and miss.
He's even a side character in his own books.
Yeah.
So even when the book's named after him, he's still a side character.
Yeah, and that's a real shame.
And there's so many good writers out there who could do good stuff with him, and they just keep dropping the ball with him.
Do you think maybe DC only want the Riddler done in a certain way?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think it's more their decision. The Riddler must be done like this. You can't do it.
Jim Carrey and the guys who played him in the 60s, I forgot his name.
Frank Gorshin, I think. Yeah.
Very, very popular takes on him.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
Yeah. But I think the problem with the Riddler is if you do it wrong, he's just a Joker. He's a poor man's Joker.
Yeah, very much. He's a trickster.
He's a trickster. Yeah, and I think that's the problem with him, and he's been written so often like that. We don't want to do the Joker again, so let's do the Riddler. Yeah. It's basically the same boy riddles. I think that's the problem. Is you should make him cold and calculating, and very intense and bits of being manic, but not like all that sort of stuff. I think there's good stories out there, and I haven't read them. Like somebody asked me a couple of years ago, like, what are really good Riddler stories? And I was like,
the few and far between.
I was like, Hush maybe, but even then he's like you said, he's a side character.
You need to read stuff.
I'll tell you what is good actually. Catwoman When in Rome by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. That is really good.
Well, I think Jeff Loeb has a take on certain characters. He turned Calendar Man into a good character. The Alice in Wonderland guy, Mad Hatter, stuff like that. So I think he knows how to turn campy characters into more sinister. The Riddler could be like Calendar Man. He could be a Lecter type character. He could be that sort of person, and he's manic. You go through the people I've chosen; they're all what they could be. If they're just written they're all a bit crazy. They're all a bit but they're never really written that way. Or they have been a few times and go, can't do that again. This is a guy who bounces around the place and he's got a stick that lights up and stuff. But on the Batman TV series, he's a bit more unhinged. He's still got the stick, but he's got technology in it now and stuff. And he says he's a bit like Marilyn.
He's a bit more disturbing, isn't he?
He looks a bit.
I think he's even voiced by Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, I think.
So he's a bit more manipulative, and he's everything he has got proper die consequences attached to them. It's not just a riddle for a riddle's sake. It's got life and death things on it.
There's links to it. There's a bigger picture.
And I can't remember last time Riddler had something that had life and death attached to it. I could be wrong. People, if I'm wrong, tell me. But
I would like to have a good dig and see if I can find like some decent Riddler stories out there.
Now, like if you read early Riddler, like really early Riddler, he's on par with Hugo Strange and everybody else. He's bothered about Batman. He wants to challenge him all the time. But to challenge him, he needs to give him something to challenge him for. So having something life and death will make pressure on Batman. And can Batman figure? And he didn't used to be able to get them all right the first time. People died because he failed. Now it's just
no consequences.
No, he's a little bit. He's a joke. Yeah, and that upsets me a little bit.
Do you think that with Riddler stories, do you think they're hard to write because you have to be as intelligent as the Riddler, or more so? You have to be more intelligent than the Riddler to come up with the riddles and to outsmart Batman. Maybe do you think that's the problem?
Maybe, but even
if you make him a joke character, you can go, well, it's a silly, shitty riddle. Of course, it's going to be solved. Batman bridges him.
You can make him a joke character, but still the consequences can be serious.
Okay.
So you can be, the Joker's a joke character. Yeah. But he'll stab you in the face.
Yeah.
You could do the same with the Riddler. You can make him as camp and as silly as you want, but make what he does count for something. I think it might have been the after Prattalion, when the Gotham got cut off and stuff. There was a little bit of war going on. Then there's battle for the cowl as well.
Yeah.
He's quite interesting in that, but again, he's a side character. It's all about everybody else. Bane, we want to be Batman. We want to do, Batman's gone. And there's all this kind of stuff going on. But that could have been a good moment because he's unhinged in that a little bit.
Yeah.
So it just bugs me, the fact that I think he's gone from being like the top 4 or 5 kind of tier character, and he's just not anymore.
Yeah, real shame.
So that's my problem with it. And he's very well known.
Yeah.
You go out down the street,
everyone would know. Yeah. Everyone knows the Riddler.
Put a big question mark in your chest. You're dressed in green. You're the Riddler. That's who you are.
There you go.
And that's my problem with him. He's not obscure. He's not. I just think he's poorly written.
Fair enough. I think that's you've made a hell of an argument, I think, for the Riddler as an underrated character. Right, down to my. I think I may have to split these into two. This episodes. We're running a little long, but I don't mind that. We've got some good bants. We've got some good info. I like this, so I'm gonna steer into that. I'm gonna talk about mine at length. So this subsection of characters are the villains that are, like most Batman villains, are much like him, not superpowered. So there are a subsection of his villains that are superpowered. So give him more of a challenge, that are more of a physical threat, more of a, there's ones that emit radiation, or there's ones that, superhumanly strong, ones that are zombies, you name it. They're all, ones that are part snake. Who knows? Loads of weird and wacky powers. Batman's come up against aliens back in the 50s. Yeah, he's been to Mars. Standard. Yeah. Kryptonian criminals. You name it. He's fought everyone and beaten everyone pretty much. Lots of superhuman threats that he has defeated. This represents all those kind of villains. So I've gone more specifically for Batman villains. I've not chosen any just random villains. It is a Batman villain. It is, in fact, Clayface.
Good choice. It was one of mine. I like Clayface.
I really like Clayface. Again, one of those early Batman villains, much like the Mad Hatter and stuff, that just seems to kind of get put to one side a little bit. It might be because his powers are a little unrealistic, and maybe you want to see Batman actually have a fight as opposed to punch a load of mud. There's been several versions of Clayface. I think there's over 8 versions of Clayface as far as I'm aware. But I think the main 3 are the best. So the original one is Basil Karloff. He is based on Boris Karloff.
Yes.
So he was a famous kind of horror movie actor. And he made, I think he made his fame in the film known as The Terror. And in the first story, his very first story, they're actually rebooting The Terror. And he wishes them all the luck. He's like, yes, well done, keep making the movies and all that sort of stuff. But secretly, he dresses up as the villain from the movie and starts killing off the cast. So it's actually quite a modern. There could be a modern take. There's like an angry fan or an obsessed actor that's been replaced. A Jared Leto has been replaced as the Joker. And he could be like, I'm gonna fucking kill everybody.
That's difficult, isn't it?
So and I like it. It's almost like he's almost like a bit of a slasher villain, like a Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees type. And again, back in the kind of 30s, that first story is actually really quite gripping. There's lots of you're trying to figure out who it is. It's a mystery, obviously, so you can't quite figure out who it is. You only see him briefly at the start, but he's jealous that he's not the star performer. He's not the character anymore. You could see a very almost again like a Robert Englund type kind of actor. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Being an actor, I can relate to not being in the spotlight or having my limelight stolen. Sure. But no, there is a little bit of that kind of connects me to it. The second Clayface was a loser career criminal known as Matt Hagen, who he went swimming. I think he was trying to search for treasure or something. It was like a sunken ship or something like that. He was trying to find something, and then gets exposed to this chemical bath, and he turns into basically a clay. He turns into clay, and he can shape his body into hammers and various other things, and go down drains and grates and things. And so he's an absolute loser, and he's a bit thick, and he tries his best, but he's not great. But the power set he has is quite interesting and different, and gave Batman and Robin a real challenge in his original appearance. And the third Clayface, probably one of the more interesting ones, is Preston Payne. He was a scientist who was born with a disfigurement and was trying to find a cure for it, and went to Matt Hagen in prison, second Clayface, and took a sample of his blood and injected the blood into his own body. And for a time, it cured him of his deformity. But eventually it wore off, and he was even more deformed than before. And his body started kind of melting into this kind of protoplasm. And the only way to stop it was for him to with his bare hand, grab somebody and make them melt instead. And then he created this kind of containment suit, this kind of exoskeleton, to kind of support him. Gave him some extra superhuman strength as well. But yeah, it's some really interesting. Again, there was a female, a lady Clayface, and then Basil Karloff came along and took the powers of all the combined Clayfaces and became the ultimate Clayface. And then there's been several other ones. The third and the fourth Clayface, the lady Clayface and Preston Payne had a child, which they named Cassius. Get it?
Yeah.
Cassius Clay.
Very good.
Very clever. Very, very clever. How droll. How droll, Master Wayne.
Animated series did a really good job with Clayface.
Now, that's what I was about to say. I think that they took the best elements of all three.
Yeah.
So the failed actor, the power set, and the deformity.
Yeah.
I think they took all of those and kind of combined it. It was written by Marv Wolfman. The episode's called Feet of Clay. It's a two-parter. The second part is an amazing bit of animation, and Shirley Walker, who did the music, won an Emmy for that episode. And those, again, that episode is up there with me with Heart of Ice, because it's a unique problem. He's scary. He's even played by Ron Perlman of Hellboy fame. He plays the character's T, and it's so tragic. Like the tragedy of Clayface is probably one of the more fascinating kind of origin stories.
He's hiding himself for a while, isn't he? He's like, he's ashamed of what he is. And...
Yeah, he becomes, in the animated series, he's a famous actor, has a car accident, becomes horribly disfigured, can't star in movies anymore, and he gets this experimental putty, Renew You, I think it's called. Roland Daggett creates it, and it can reshape his features into what he used to look like. And then he gets an overdose because he's trying to, make money on the side and stuff, and becomes Clayface. But he can't control it for a lengthy amount of time. He can't be somebody. It's like I think he describes like a tensing a muscle. He can't do it for very long. And he has this kind of like friend with him. I can't remember his friend's name, but he's like, I'm going to help you, but it's such a tragic two-parter, and I think it's one of the best two-parters they ever did. I think some of the two-parters, like the Two-Face two-parter, didn't come off as well, I don't think. I love the character. I love the power set. I think he's something different, than just, another crazy guy running around and Batman punching him in the face. It's a tricky adversary. You can't punch him. You can't physically defeat him, really. You kind of have to outthink him or get into his kind of psychology or find a way to kind of get round his kind of his actor mentality. Think of him as an actor and kind of like pull something from that or use his psychology against him. And I just think he's just so underrated. And again, those episodes are amazing.
I think anyone who's into comics should watch the Bruce Timm animation.
Yeah, Batman the animated series,
the whole thing.
Watch all of it.
Quit your job. Just watch that.
Well, I'll be honest. Like when I look at Batman characters, like especially the villains, when I read them in a book, I always go back to those episodes, that series. I always go, that's my Killer Croc, that's my Mad Hatter, that's my Joker, that's my Harley Quinn, that's my Catwoman. Those are the versions for me. I don't mind it's different iterations of those characters, but those are the voices I hear when I read the books. I hear Kevin Conroy, I hear Mark Hamill, I hear Ron Perlman. I hear those, and it comes to life for me in a way that maybe it wouldn't have done before if I'd not seen the animated series. And that and X-Men turned me onto comics. So yeah, it's a really, really fascinating character. And one that I hope has a bit more kind of, spotlight. I know recently in Rebirth, got onto the side of the Angels a little bit.
Yeah, he's part of the Bat team.
And he even, in one story with Hugo Strange, he even becomes Batman's suit of armour, which I thought was pretty cool and weird. Very much in the kind of Clayface vein.
But is he always good?
That is a question as well. Like, I know they usually kind of stick with the Basil Karlo version now. I don't think they're like, forget all the 8 other versions of Clayface. It's too confusing.
But no, I agree. I think he's a great character.
Yeah, I think we need to see a lot more of him. I like the other versions of Clayface as well. They're fine, but they don't really. There's not much depth to them. No. But I think the first 3 are the strongest. Definitely. There's one with Clayface 3 and Alan Moore wrote where he's in love with a mannequin or something. Yeah. So that's apparently supposed to be quite good. But really, really happy with all your choices.
Thank you.
I hope you've been happy with mine. I think we've.
No, I think they're all. No, they're all.
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't go through my runners up again. Sorry.
Dreadful.
I keep forgetting my runners up. So my runners up were Gentleman Ghost.
Cool character.
Yeah. Kind of literally a ghost.
He is a lot in the 70s.
Yes, he's very 70s. Dr. Phosphorus, who's a kind of a nuclear.
Bright green.
Yeah, bright green.
See-through.
Blight in Batman Beyond was based on Dr. Phosphorus. Solomon Grundy, Born on Monday.
Good character.
Yeah, zombie, great, and quite very much a Hulk figure.
Yeah.
He's usually a Man-Bat.
I love Man-Bat.
Yeah?
I think Man-Bat's got a big resurgence because of Justice League Dark. Wanting to be Batman, too lazy. You know, what can I do?
Shortcut.
That'll do that. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
No, I think Man-Bat's great.
Yeah.
And the miniseries Man-Bat with I can't remember the artist's name. You know, the 3 books.
I think so. 90s.
Yeah.
Chuck Dixon?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I've read it. I've definitely read it. Yeah.
it's really, really good.
Yeah. I think because you meet Killer Croc in that, and they kind of have a little.
And the
friendship.
artwork's amazing.
Yeah, it does. It's proper disturbing kind of horror artwork.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's great. Blockbuster.
No idea.
He's kind of a Hulk-esque character.
Right.
His brother turns up in Nightwing, and he's kind of more of an intelligent mob boss.
Right.
He's kind of just a super strong, thick monster. And Copperhead.
Copperhead.
Yeah, Copperhead. So that's the ones we've gone on about. I just want to quickly go over the listener comments.
Okay.
So from Facebook, Andrew Knowles has said, good friend of the show, good friend of mine, has said Clayface as his underrated villain. Your friend and mine, Michael Chandler, says he's hoping to hear about My Boy Pig.
Oink, oink.
Yeah, so Professor Pig, he's referencing. I have not read any of the Grant Morrison Batman stuff, so I can't say I've read any Pig appearances. Not major appearances. I have played the video games again, where Arkham Knight, I think he appears in. But again, I'm a little
visually really good.
Yeah,
that's it.
Not really that interesting.
I don't think so.
Not one of yours.
No, I think again the Beware the Batman.
Yeah.
I think he's cool in that.
Yeah,
I think they're playing well in that. I've not read lots, but I've read he's all right.
Yeah,
he looks good.
Is he just kind of another serial killer? Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oink, oink.
Oink, oink.
Yeah.
Ben John has referenced another Grant Morrison character, Le Flamingo.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen the cover. I've seen the cover.
Yeah.
He looks a bit like Prince or something.
Yeah, he's cool.
But I've not read his stories or anything, so I don't know much about him.
He looks great though.
Yeah, he's got a great design doing that. I can say great. That.
Yeah.
But I've not read any of his stuff. So Paul Meller. I believe a friend of yours as well. Yeah. He just said, excellent. So I think he's talking about the podcast in general. I think
about me.
I think, oh, right, maybe, yeah.
I think I'm excellent.
He's like, he thinks you are excellent.
Me.
And he's got a little big smiley emoji. So he left a very nice review on my Apple podcast, which I do thank you for.
Very good.
Lovely man.
He is a lovely man.
Now, here's one from Veronica Hall, Scarecrow.
I don't think he's underrated. I think he's used a lot. I think he's been in the movies, his stuff. There's stories like Kings of Fear at the moment, and again he's one of these characters that people nick his kind of formula off him.
Yeah.
He does appear a lot, and he's look at the games. He's one of the mainstay of the games. With the needles and I think he's used. I think the ones we've spoke about.
Yeah, underrated.
I would say he was one of these people. He pops up a lot.
Yeah. He's my number one kind of Batman villain for me. Like he's my favourite over the Joker, just because I like the both that Batman and him use fear as a weapon, and he's almost a darker version of Batman. He's taken it a step too far. I like the design, I like the origin, everything like that. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he's underrated.
I like the animated series. I like the I Am Batman. He stands up on the blade. I am the Knight. I am Bat. I think it's excellent. That's really some
really good stuff. Yeah. We're basically just saying, go watch Batman the Animated Series. If in doubt, just watch Batman the Animated Series.
Because they're doing well.
Yeah, they're good.
And they're not scared of making them unhinged and
sympathetic.
Yeah,
very sympathetic. Yeah. And just because the characters are sympathetic, it doesn't mean we approve of what they're doing. So moving on to Twitter. So Marcus at the Marco Guy has said, I've always enjoyed Man-Bat, but sure, it's a very basic Jekyll and Hyde kind of situation, but I love that kind of stuff. Plus, monster characters are just fun in general.
I agree.
Have to agree with you, Marcus. Have to agree with you wholeheartedly. So Jack and the Geekstalk at Jack Geekstalk have said Scarecrow doesn't get enough love. So again, we've just discussed that. We said we love the Scarecrow. We like the Scarecrow as a character.
They've literally just done.
Yeah.
And the hardback's just come out, and he's in. Kelly Jones loves the character.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff with him.
Yeah, he's again great. Loads of, all the designs I've ever seen for the Scarecrow.
It's not a bad design. Even the basic as a Scarecrow with the side. He's like a skinny guy with the blonde hair and stuff.
It works.
Right the way up to like needles and big scary thing. And
But yeah, so all we're saying, get looking. It's all out there. Yeah. But I do agree, it is like my number one Batman villain. So it's still a good choice, but not necessarily underrated. So my biggest fan, so it's I Am Jack's Musings at I Am Jack's Musings. He says, I'm a big fan of the Reaper comic arc from Batman Year 2.
Year 2, yeah.
Rarely seen him mentioned in discussions about Batman villains. I also really like the use of James Gordon Jr. in Batman the Black Mirror. I said to Jax on the Twitter feed, I said, I think there's a better version of that character in Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Yeah. I think that's just, they've taken that main concept and run with it. I think the storyline has its holes and stuff.
Batman has a gun.
Yeah, if you like that.
Yes,
his parents' gun that killed it. Yeah.
He looks cool.
There's some nice Todd McFarlane covers. Yeah. I think he did a couple of the issues maybe, and I think Alan Davis might have carried on the storyline. Yeah. I know there was a sequel book called, I think it's Fear the Reaper or Full Circle or something. And he did a sequel to that. But yeah, I think Mask of the Phantasm is a better version of that character. But I didn't mind the story, but it's not the best. I did really like James Gordon Jr. in Black Mirror. I thought that was really, really good. That was the best bit about that run. Jax has come back again with another one and said, I think there's a great story to tell with Zaz. So Victor Zaz or Mr. Zaz. That hasn't been done yet. And then there's this guy. And he's put an image of Batman versus the Predator, which is a good story.
First one's great.
Yeah. The other two. But the first one by Dave Gibbons and it's one of the Cubits.
I just like when Batman arms up.
Yeah, that's great.
Down in a double page splash page.
Oh, that's a good one.
I kind of agree with him with Zaz. Yeah, he pops up, pops out. Yeah, and I think he needs to go and slaughter some people. Yeah, I think he's somebody who could push Batman to the limit of should I kill him or not.
I think potentially he's worse than the Joker. Yeah, if you really push him, I think there's because he's unrepentant. Yeah, completely. I think good choices there. So Ben at Nerd Chatting, so that's Ben __ Nerd Chat, has jokingly said, Kite Man.
I have nothing. I have literally nothing.
No. He comes back with another comment and says, in all seriousness, I'm going to go with Calendar Man. In the last few years, he's been more of a kind of Hannibal Lecter type, which I think is a really interesting spin on the character.
I agree.
So there's a lot of mention of Calendar Man in this. Yeah. I've mentioned him, you mentioned him, Ben's mentioned him. Okay, we've got another one at, so this is Lillian Sue, so at LSue23. Zaz really freaks me out. And Hush is underrated too. I do really like Hush, but my favourite story is Heart of Hush. I think outside of that story, he's a bit of a blank slate. I think even in the original Hush comic, it's not very,
I'm a bit blurred with Hush, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think he looks good.
Yeah, it's good design.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
Yeah, fair enough. And we've been over Zaz as well, so that's cool. Last comment. This is from the 20th Century Geek pod at 20th Century Geek. I've always liked the tragic take on Man-Bat. Glad he's getting more panel time in Justice League Dark, like you said.
Read Justice League Dark.
Very
much so.
Is that the most recent run, or?
Yeah, the Rebirth Justice League Dark.
Basically,
I read. Michael Chandler told me to read them. Yeah, our mutual friend. Yeah, and I got them, not read them. Yeah. Read them. It's great. Basically, Wonder Woman story.
Nice
crossover in
all the horror characters.
Yeah, it is horror. It's good. It's magic, and it's Man-Bat's great in it as well.
Cool, amazing. I do like a bit of Kirk Langstrom. So that's basically it.
Cool.
I think I'll have to divide this into two.
Why did no one mention the Eraser?
The Eraser.
Yeah, it was going to be one of my choices.
Okay. Would you have any other runners-up you want to mention? I mentioned my runners-up.
You know what I like about the Eraser? He hates Bruce Wayne.
Fair enough.
And he can rub out his fingerprints and everything with his head.
Permanently, just rub off his fingerprints.
And he has sharp shoes, which fire gas out of them.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the 60s, come on.
I mean, my trousers fire out gas whenever I command.
Mine have been a few of them inside. No, but I like the design.
Fair enough. He looks like a pencil, doesn't he, basically?
He does look like a pencil. See, I collect Batman for a very long time, and I've seen lots of villains.
Yes.
And I'm very much like you. I think the Joker is done to death.
Yeah.
And he's going to be done to death because of the new movie.
Yep. I think they've even released a new graphic novel with a collection of stories.
Which is good though, because it's a good jumping on point for people. And there's really good stories in there. And I'm bored of reading about Bane. I'm bored. I'd like to some of these characters in the 60s, and some of these kind of more obscure people.
Yeah,
I think would freshen up the characters a little bit.
I think so too. Okay, well, I think we're done.
Stick a fork in me.
Stick a fork in you. Right. Well, I think we should get a drink because it is exceptionally warm in here.
It's very warm.
It is very warm.
That's why I'm sat here naked.
So before we go, I'm just going to let the listeners yet again know where to find me. So Facebook is @SecretBoars. Twitter is Dan @Dan_Boars. Instagram is SpiderDan SecretBoars. This podcast is now available on Podcoin, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and many, many more. And don't forget, if you want to message us, make sure you use the hashtag #PrepareForPrattle. And we will return, no doubt, very, very soon. Take care, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.